I am pleased to be participating in this function marking the commencement of the UK Caribbean Infrastructure Fund. It was in September 2015 when UK Prime Minister David Cameron visited Jamaica and announced to the Parliament for the first time his government's decision to provide a grant of £300 million to set up the UK-CIF, through which ODA-eligible Caribbean countries would be able to access finance for infrastructure development, and also for him to appoint the Caribbean Development Bank as the manager of this fund. Needless to say, it was one of the greatest moments in my life. Importantly, by targeting infrastructure development, £300 million would significantly expand the opportunities for economic growth in the eligible economies in the Caribbean. £300 million would, of course, not close the huge infrastructure gap that Caribbean countries face, but in my view, it would certainly make a noticeable dent in that gap. It is widely known that infrastructure investments have a strong impact on growth and economic and social progress. Improved transportation systems and safer roads have the potential to raise school attendance. Better roads and telecommunication facilities can raise labor productivity, shore up rural incomes, thereby reducing poverty. Also, enhanced access to electricity lengthens the time available to study and raises female employment, thereby increasing overall productivity. All of these will redound to the benefit of our borrowing member countries. Ladies and gentlemen, it has been a whirlwind period for staff of both DFID and CDB charged with operationalizing the fund. Since that historic announcement less than 6 months ago, DFID and CDB signed the Memorandum of Understanding on February 8, 2016. And I'm pleased to announce that CDB's Board of Directors ratified that agreement at its meeting yesterday, for those of you who might not have been there. We have already launched the fund in Antigua and Barbuda and also in Dominica. And our plan is to complete the launches in all of the 9 beneficiary countries by mid-April. So here we are today, marking the commencement of UK-CIF. We have good reason to be in a celebratory mood. The UK-CIF, no doubt, is a huge addition to the pool of concessionary resources available to St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Based on the formula agreed for allocating the funds, you are eligible to receive, Minister Gonzalez, grants totaling approximately $41.4 million based on today's exchange rate. I suspect, sir, that you can do a lot of damage with that 41.4 million US dollars. And I know you have it planned out already. I must give full credit to the small core of staff of DFID Caribbean and CDB who collaborated on putting the operational machinery in place so quickly. They have truly demonstrated that partnerships can and do work. But we must get right back to work tomorrow to make sure that St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and indeed all of the beneficiary countries, do access these resources on a timely basis and that they utilize the funds well. DFID and CDB teams plan to visit each beneficiary country to meet with and familiarize local officials with the requirements for access. To date, we have visited Antigua and Barbuda and Dominica, and we met with officials right here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines only yesterday. Our next stops this month are Belize and Guyana. Minister Jordan, I hope you'll be there, sir. Oh, he's outside. Okay. Oh, right here. We will complete the list with visits to Grenada, to Jamaica, to Montserrat and St. Lucia in April. I am pleased that beneficiary countries are proactively preparing the list of priority projects that they wish to be funded with the UK-CIF resources. Based on visits by technical staff from CDB to both Antigua and Barbuda and to Dominica, we are currently preparing one capital project and two technical assistance projects for consideration. In-house, we are in the process of recruiting additional staff to increase the capacity of the bank in order to implement the UK-CIF efficiently. At CDB, we are committed to the successful implementation of the UK-CIF, and we will continue to work with DFID and our country partners to execute the program within the 4-year timeline. Ladies and gentlemen, I thank you.
So as the head of DFID in the Caribbean, I'm really excited by this UK Caribbean Infrastructure Fund. It's a huge fund by our standards, and it's the largest single programme in my portfolio. I hope that you can see that it really demonstrates how strongly our Prime Minister's personally engaged in issues in the Caribbean. And it also shows the very high level of commitment that the UK gives to the region. Our Caribbean programme is now nearly 4 times larger than it was prior to the 2015 UK election. I'm also delighted that we're undertaking the fund with the CDB. Working with the CDB, we believe, gives us the best chance to deliver the quality of infrastructure that our Prime Minister wants to see, and in the timescale that he's asked us to deliver this programme. So let me take this opportunity to thank CDB's management and the staff for their tireless efforts since this idea of the fund first emerged, and also to thank the board for its support and constructive comments. This fund has the specific purpose to build real, tangible things that will make a difference for people across the Caribbean. Roads, bridges, renewable energy, port improvements. Today I went to see the port in St. Vincent, and we're hoping that that's going to be one potential project that we can help with, and sea defences. These are critical economic infrastructure that will set the foundations for growth and prosperity, and in turn reduce poverty, while helping the region become more resilient to the risks of climate change. In the words of the St. Lucia director, to hopefully help you to reach the unattainable and make that work. So this infrastructure fund, like all DFID funding for the region, is entirely grant-based, and it will not add to the debt burdens in the region. We know that it will be a challenge to deliver this 300 million over the next 4 years across the 8 countries and 1 territory. The provisional ideas for projects we've received from some of the countries, but I do really want to encourage you all to now give this a priority. I understand that a pro forma for making the applications is just about ready, and there's a new web page on the CDB website which has all the information about the fund. Plus, Andrew and myself and other DFID staff will be visiting each of the countries we haven't visited already. As Warren has said, the CDB is still putting together a dedicated team with Andrew at the lead. And on that, I'm also pleased to say that this will include 4 new DFID staff who've already been selected and who will be in place shortly. This fund can provide the support right from the initial idea through to design and delivery. So please do approach Andrew if you need any sort of support. With your help, we've now signed and ratified the MOU with the CDB to operationalise the fund. So this means that the CDB is ready to go, which is good news. For me, a key ambition for the fund will be to ensure that the projects supported under it are resilient to future climate change and to the type of extreme weather events that occur in the Caribbean. We've heard what's happened in St. Vincent here just in the recent few years, and the trough in the Christmas trough. So, and also, actually, one of my first days at work, I heard about the tropical storm Erica in Dominica. So we really need to have the infrastructure that's going to last through these weather events. I also want the fund to promote wider development. I want it to promote employment opportunities for local communities. to maximise opportunities for women to be involved in and benefit from projects, to ensure that communities are fully involved in design as well as implementation, and to support governments to be fully transparent in procurement and have zero tolerance towards corruption. With adequate maintenance plans in place, that way we can really ensure a lasting legacy.
We are also very, very thankful indeed that we're here to observe the ratification of the Caribbean Investment Fund, £300 million at that. I think today's meetings, past meetings, and future meetings will continue to stress the dwindling resources and the unimportance our region seemed to have been taken on in recent times. You know, at one time we used to, as you say, fly above our weight class, but now we have more or less over the last couple of years been brought back to base, as they normally say. You know, we used to be able to have lots of people in international positions, to have our positions put forward in the various international forums and so on. But of recent times, we have been subsumed, and more important, albeit ours are important too, issues have been taken to the fore. So this obviously comes as both as a blessing and recognition that we are still somewhat important, that we still do have challenges, extreme challenges, both known and those that are emerging. In my own country's case, we have always been known for our lopsided development. We have a coastline very narrow. The bulk of the people live there. We have a hinterland, massive hinterland, wonderful forests, all the minerals and so on there. Very few people are living there. And what has happened, interlopers are entering, taking our wealth and taking it away. So my government, been in place since May 2015 of last year, have decided to bridge the divide between the coast and the hinterland. Now that's a lot of money. A lot of money. You're talking about infrastructure, to deal with the infrastructure deficit, to deal with human capacity resources problems, and to deal with all energy problems, climate change problems, and so on. So we have a lot of issues to deal with. And no doubt, such a windfall, right, came at the right and appropriate time. We thank the British, and we thank the British for identifying the Caribbean Development Bank as the executing agency for this new resources. I would just like to implore that we do not impose harsh procedures, bearing in mind we talked today about the capacity issues that we have, that we will use this as a rapid disbursement intervention in our countries so that we could benefit from these resources in the fullest possible way and not have them sitting idling and being eaten away by inflation. So thank you all for listening.